around that time here. This is him and his queen. I'm going to let you read this. Go ahead and read it.
While the tomb of Egyptian king Tutankhamun was discovered virtually intact in the 1920s.
You know, the Lord done preserved this stuff all the way from about 3,000-4,000 years ago, all the way up to about 80 years ago, when they finally went in the tomb and they discovered it. Go ahead and read on.
It yielded a breathtaking collection of art objects from the 14th century BC.
And we've been looking at some of them here, and here's another one. Go ahead and read.
Just a few years before the Exodus.
Just a few years before what? The Exodus. Why is it called a few years before the Exodus? Why is the book we just reading out of here called Exodus? Because it had to do with the time when Israel exited out of Egypt. But we're looking at dark-skinned people here, aren't we?
Yes,
that is what we're looking at here. Now, let's go to Exodus chapter 6, and we'll pick it up at verse 1. Exodus 6, and we'll begin reading at verse 1. Last week, we showed you where Moses, the Israelite, was mistaken for an Egyptian. How can you mistake an Israelite for an Egyptian unless they look alike?
That's right.
Just plain old common sense. You know, this ain't, this is not rocket science that we're dealing with here. This is plain old simple stuff that anybody that uses any kind of common reasoning can understand. All of the evidence says that Israel is a dark-skinned race of people. All of the evidence says that. And we're going to produce it. We produced some last time. We're going to produce some more this time. Let's go now to Exodus chapter 6, and we'll begin reading at verse 1. 6 and 1. Go ahead and read, brother.
Then the Lord said unto Moses, Now shall I see what I would do to Pharaoh. For with the strong hand shall he let them go, and with the strong hand shall he drive them out of his land.
So now, Lord have commissioned Moses to go down into Egypt and deliver the children of Israel out of this bondage. Go ahead and read on.
And God spake unto Moses and said unto him, I am the Lord, and I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob by the name of God Almighty. But by my name Jehovah was I not known to them.
Go ahead.
And I have also established my covenant with them, to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage, wherein they were strangers. And I have also heard the groaning of the children of Israel, whom the Egyptians keep in bondage. And I have remembered my covenant. Wherefore say unto the children of Israel, I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. And I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you with a stretched out arm, and with great judgments. And I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a God, and you should know that I am the Lord your God, which bringeth you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians.
So now, the Lord is saying, hey, I'm going to bring this children of Israel, this dark-skinned race of people, I'm going to bring them out of this bondage. And I'm going to bring them into the land that I promised their forefathers, which is the land of Canaan. Because the Lord had made this promise to Abraham. And he said that land would belong to them for everlasting possession. I don't care how many times they mess up, they got to wind up back in that land eventually. You understand what I'm saying? Because the covenant must be kept that he made to Abraham. So yeah, Israel, you're going to mess up, get kicked out all the time, but eventually you're going to wind up back in that land. Because now, the Lord he made this promise to Abraham. Israel was in bondage down in Egypt. Now he's about to bring them back into the land of Canaan here, into the land that he promised them. But however, Israel going to get kicked out again, because that is what the Lord said. Every time you mess up, I'm throwing you out. Go ahead and read.
Verse 8. And I will bring you into the land concerning the which I did swear to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And I will give you you for inheritance. I am the Lord.
Now he says, so now I'm going to bring you into this land that I promised unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob. Now let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, and we're going to show you some of the things that the Lord said would happen to Israel if they got into the land and they messed up, in which they did. Because they really started messing up before they even set foot in it.
Yes,
They got off on the wrong foot, and they never got straightened out. Not really. There was a few times that they showed a glimmer of hope anyway. But most of Israel's history, They have been messing up, most of it. Let's go now, Deuteronomy chapter 28, begin reading at verse 15. 28 and 15, show you what the Lord said he would do if Israel got in the land and started messing up, disobeying his commandments. Start reading at verse 15. Go ahead and read.
But it should come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and all his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Now, we didn't bother to read it, but first the Lord said all of the blessings that would come upon Israel if they obeyed his commandments. Then he turned around and he said all of the curses that would come upon Israel if they disobeyed his commandments. Now, these curses, they apply to every generation. It was not just the generations back then in what people like to call Bible days. Because you're living in every generation is Bible days. Yes, from the beginning all the way down to the end is Bible days. Because the Lord deal with every generation from the beginning even unto the end. So now, but people like to call it back in Bible days. So now, but these curses, they apply to every generation, and these curses, they are directed to Israel. Go ahead and read on.
Verse 16.
Go ahead.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Now he say, you Israel, if you don't obey these commandments, you're going to be cursed in the city, and you will be cursed in the field. Go ahead and read on.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of the body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
Now he say, you know your body going to be cursed. Your children going to be cursed. You're going to be cursed in the city. You're going to be cursed in the field. Your cattle, your flocks going to be cursed. Go ahead and read on.
Cursed shall thy be when thou comest in, and cursed shall thy be when thou goest out.
You're going to be cursed all the time, when you come in and when you go out. Go ahead and read on.
The Lord shall send upon thee cursings, vexation, and rebuke, and all that thou settest thy hand unto for to do.
See what the Lord say? He say he's going to set curses up on you in everything that you set your hand to do. You're going to fail at everything, in other words. Go ahead and read on.
Until thou be destroyed.
Until you be destroyed. Go ahead and read on.
Until thou perish quickly. Because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me.
Now, we're going to just look at some of these curses here. Start reading at verse 25. We don't have time to read them all, but they apply to every generation. Go ahead and read on.
The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thy enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them.
Go ahead.
And shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
And notice what the Lord say, and Israel, you will be removed into all the kingdoms. Now you got people that claiming they're Israelites, right? And you have them living in this hemisphere, don't you? How did they get to this hemisphere? Were they removed and brought here, or did they migrate here? Then you got a people that look like me that's saying they are Israelites. How did they get to this hemisphere? They was removed and brought here, weren't they?
Yes, sir.
The proof is in the pudding, isn't it? Because whoever Israel is, they must fit these curses. You understand what I'm saying? This is how you identify who Israel is. If they don't fit the curses, then they're not the people. It is that simple. You understand what I'm saying? You give a description of how Israelites look, and then if they don't fit that description, then they're not the one, are they? You're the only one that fits the description that the Bible gives for Israel. We're going to read you some more of the description. Skip down now to verse 29. Go ahead and read.
And thou shalt grope at noonday, and the blind gropeth in darkness. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways.
He said, wait a minute, you're going to grope in noonday as the blind grope in darkness. Have you ever wondered why Israel just go from corner to corner? They go sit and grope, that means you just moping around. You understand what I'm saying? You don't really have no directions. Israel, he stand on this corner for a while, didn't he? Then you come back an hour later, he done moved down to the next corner. Then you come back a couple of hours later, he done moved to the corner around the block. You understand what I'm saying? Then he do this all day long. Then he finally go home and go to bed and get up and start the cycle all over again.
Yes, sir.
Because he have no direction. You understand? He just groping around. That is what he do. And notice what else it said, and you shall be oppressed always. And who is it always complaining about how they being oppressed? That's what all your march-ins and set-ins and lie-ins was about.